Hey guys, so I haven't done a Q&A or giveaway in a while, so here is both. All the details are on screen and I'll be announcing the giveaway winner in my next Q&A video, which will be in about 2 weeks. So you can subscribe to stay tuned for that. Leave a comment, any comment, and you'll be entered. And hit the like button so you can tell your friends that you smashed that like button. All right, let's get started. What made you change from not a blindfold practicing kind of guy to practicing blind a lot? In December, I realized I wanted to get better at blindfolded just a little bit because I wanted to not put in too much effort because it wasn't my main event, but I also wanted to do decently well at the upcoming competitions that all had blindfolded. But then as I started practicing it, I realized it was kind of fun and I was getting kind of good, so I just decided to learn all of 3 style. That kind of small commitment into accidentally falling all the way into the rabbit hole is kind of what I did for a lot of events like 5x5, FMC, and 2x2. What will be the practical use of cubing in the future? I'm a kid and I want to know if cubing will help in my career. By the way, love your content. Aw, thank you. Cubing is just a hobby that's meant to be fun, and the things you do for fun usually won't coincide with what your career is. Of course, there are ways it can help, like if people know you're a cuber and that you're really good at it, then people will think you're smart, analytical, dedicated, and all that. Plus, if you make friends through cubing by going to competitions, then it can help you to develop social skills and make connections. Or if you're like me and didn't go to competitions for a long time, then I just brought it to school, people thought I was smart, and then I put it away because then I had friends and I don't want to annoy them with this. So for your hobbies, pretty much just do what you think is fun. If cubing wasn't fun, then it would be pretty useless. But the same could be said for like any hobby. Which is your favorite algorithm on 3x3? Well, of course, that would be the same as my favorite discount code on Speedcube Shop. What is the worst puzzle you have? Obviously, the Valk Power. 3 questions. 1. Is YouTube your full-time job? Yes, it is, and you can go to patreon.com/jperm if you want to help keep it that way. 2. How many cubes do you have? I actually don't know. A lot of people ask me to make a cube collection video, and yes, I see your comments. I think I will, but it's going to be a lot of effort. I have a few shoeboxes full of cubes, and also what you probably don't know is I only film my videos on half of my table. Before every video, I push everything to the other half of the table so you can't see it, and it's just a mountain of cubes and boxes and just things I'm too lazy to throw away. 3. How old are you? I am 17. Just kidding, I wanted to see who would believe that. I'm actually 23. How did you start learning 3-style for edges? Did you learn Orozco for it? I really think Orozco for corners is really good, but Orozco for edges wasn't that helpful. It did give me some experience with a few types of commutators, but using it in solves was not that good. It did give me experience with some commutator types, but using it in solves, it's like slower than M2 because I was already perfect at M2. I started by learning a few of the easier targets like the U-face, and then I just went and learned all of it at once. If you go watch my video on it, it is hard to learn, but turns out learning all of it at once is like not the hardest thing ever. Why do you use your phone camera instead of a normal camera? So you can see it in the face cam here, it is a Samsung Galaxy S7 that I've been using for years. This is a relatively old phone, but if you go into its settings, you'll find that it can film in 1080p and 60 frames per second. And that's pretty much all you need, so let me ask you this. Would you rather film a YouTube video or spend hundreds of dollars and then film a YouTube video? Do you think that an expensive cube can help in improving? I am sub 20 and cannot improve. Cubes are so good nowadays that an expensive cube is definitely not what's holding you back. But with that being said, there is a psychological aspect to cubing, or to anything, and having better hardware can often make you improve faster, because maybe you think it's better, or before you had a mental block that your cube wasn't good enough for you to get better, or it's just more fun turning a cube that's actually good. Tips on predicting first pair during a complicated cross. If your cross takes a lot of moves, often there's another way that takes just as many moves. And so you should pick the solution that is simpler. For example, if one solution doesn't turn as many different layers, then it's probably easier to track first pair in that one. Rank all the n by n's from 1 to 7. I actually made a tier list video on this, so you can go check that out to see my explanations for why I think what I think. How do I manage time when I have to practice many events? You don't have to practice many events, but if you do want to be good at many events, then you don't have to be good at all of them at the same time. For example, I do like half the WCA events, but I only practice the ones that are coming up at a competition, which is never all of them. Or even if there are all of them, I only focus on a few of them. What is your best single on 3x3 and 2x2? That would be 4.96 and 0.61. If you want to see all my PBs, I'll have a link in the description. What is the best budget cube? I have a video about the best flagships and budget cubes at the end of 2019. I think the only new one I haven't tried is the SIAMES, which I will try very soon. How do you convince people that they can also solve a cube when they say they don't know how to? I tell people that I also thought I wouldn't be able to do it, but then what made it so fun was figuring out that I could. And as it turns out, you don't have to analyze anything, it's just recognizing color patterns. But if you learn it and show people, they'll think you're a genius. What is your favorite cubing moment? I have two favorites. One is of course when Felix got 4.73 as the world record with Mats Volk, the 4.74 world record holder, right next to him at the time. That's like objectively one of the best cubing moments in history. The other one is when Colin Burns won US Nationals 2014. If you don't know who he is, he's also the former world record holder with 5.25. I don't think he was ever one of the very best cubers in the world, but when it came time to seize an opportunity and perform under pressure, he was amazing at that. How do I get even tensions on big cubes? The way I check if tensions are even on any size cube is by pulling apart on two opposite edges and see how far apart they go from the center. Whichever one goes farther is the looser side. I've had many times where I changed a cube, not even necessarily an upgrade, just a cube that I found more fun to play with, and it wouldn't make me better at first because the hardware wasn't that important, but it did make me improve faster because of the psychological aspect. So you can keep improving without getting a better cube, but in my experience, if I really want a new cube, I'm probably not going to be that motivated on my old one. Can you solve the cube using only G-perms? Oh my god, I hate this question. If you've seen my video on how to solve with only J-perms, I teach right at the beginning how you can kind of cheat, which is do two J-perms that does the equivalent of just a U move. And if you can do a U move, you can do that on any side, therefore you can do any single turn you want, which means you can use that over and over to solve the whole cube. But it's pretty stupid because you can just solve it intuitively with J-perms anyway. Now the thing with G-perms is solving intuitively would probably be so hard that I would just go for that method. I could do one G-perm with RUD moves, another G-perm with the wide moves, and in combination they would just make a U move. That's probably as far as I want to think about this. How do you go about learning new algorithms? I think the most important thing is to make sure that you have a good way of reviewing them frequently and be disciplined about that. Like, don't go a few days without reviewing them again, because if you wait for them to show up in solves, they won't be showing up enough for you to get enough practice. How come your logo is a 2x2 but most of your videos are with 3x3? I think whether my channel logo is a 2x2 or 3x3, it communicates the same thing. It's a cubing channel, and if you're making a YouTube channel, I think it's really important that your logo either stands out or is easily recognizable. Big YouTube channels tend to have a face or a simple image, and there's a good reason for that. What would be your one tip for getting faster at a cube or puzzle? This is my tip for getting good at anything, and it's to have a good balance of practice and learning. You can't get better without learning new things, but without practice, those things you've learned are useless. I'll link a video on top which is the difference between older and younger cubers, and this talks about that in the context of cubing and fighting games. Sauce on the salad or sauce on the side? So here's the thing about salads. I don't like the way they taste, I prefer like any other food, but I will eat them anyway because they are good for me. Now here's my thing with sauce. Most sauces that can actually make a salad taste good are very bad for you. And the entire purpose of the salad was to make me healthier, so I don't use sauce on a salad. Any tips to improve F2L look ahead aside from slow solving? So here's the thing about slow solving. If you're already doing good habits in your fast solves, then there's no point in making everything easier in a slow solve. Slow solves in that case are useless. But if you have bad habits in your fast solves, then you probably can't think that quickly to replace them with good habits. So in your question, you've already identified that your bad habit is you're looking at the thing you're solving instead of looking at the next case. So in the slow solve, you have more time to think about the right thing to do and you can try and replace that habit. So think of slow solves as a training room for bad habit replacement. Then when you get back to fast solves, you have to keep your training in mind and try to keep using that. How do I make each intuitive F2L case as a separate case to get it into my muscle memory? The best way to turn cases into muscle memory is to turn at your fastest for them. And I took one look at these solves, it doesn't look like you're turning at your fastest at any point. Try doing RU, R', U' 6 times and see how fast you can do that. During your solves for most F2L algorithms, you should be turning just as fast. Of course, turning super fast makes look ahead hard, but at this point, if you're focusing on muscle memory, then turning fast really helps. What kind of music do you listen to when you solve? I usually like electronic music, but recently I've been listening to a lot of other stuff and I'll just link all that in the description. When I'm doing blindfolded, I listen to music that I'm very familiar with, so it's easy to tune it out so I can focus. But when I'm solving something like big cubes or 3x3, then I can listen to a podcast. If you could be the world record holder for a puzzle, which one would it be? Of course, if I could choose any, it would be 3x3, but most realistically, it would, probably be FMC. I think out of my better events, first of all, FMC is my best event, but also it's the one with the biggest amount of luck involved. I don't think I'm currently skilled enough to get world record, but if I practice a lot and then get super duper lucky, then yeah, it could happen. Alright, so that's it for this week's Q&A. Stay tuned for another one in 2 weeks where I announce the winners. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.